I'm coming to you today to share an idea specific to staked furniture, and especially relevant to three-legged stools. It's a little structural element that I haven't seen anyone else use before, but I've come to like doing it myself, so I wanted to share it. So, if you've seen my other video on staked furniture, you already know that this may be within reach. Something like this three-legged stool, or it could be four-legged, or it could be a chair, or whatever. But if you can make these round mortise and tenon joints, either conical or cylindrical, then something like a three-legged stool might be within reach. And they can be relatively simple to build that way. Now this one has gotten to a point where it's almost done, but at this point there's still a phenomenon where if you sit on it, the legs tend to want to spread. And over time, you know, I'm concerned that this might crack the seat, or it might not do any harm, but it might just make the person sitting in it might just feel the flex, and it might make it feel a little less solid for them. So a lot of times what you'll see are rungs, and they go between the legs, and they have little mortise and tenon joints of their own. But you'll also see, and I've seen this on a lot of kitchen chairs, those little round mortise and tenon joints, maybe they're not glued particularly well, or I don't know why, but they do tend to pull out sometimes. And then, since you can't just throw good wood glue after bad, you then have to scrape all the glue off and redo them. I did a repair recently where we actually pegged them into place to get around that. But I just don't think it's the ideal way to provide tensile strength to keep the legs from spreading. So I've come up with a different idea. I lace it up with paracord. So I stepped off 5 evenly spaced holes per leg. You can see that right there. I happen to use 1/4-inch holes. And I biased them to be a little more towards the outside of the leg, since you can really think of these as going around most of the leg. And the next thing I'm going to do is lace it up with paracord, and I'm going to follow a pattern. Now the pattern that I came up with is 5 holes per leg. That's 15 total holes. And each time the paracord passes through and I go to the next leg to the right, I go either up 2 holes or down 3. And if I do that, then I get through all the holes. And I weave them together as well. Which means you got to pay attention to what you're doing. You need to pay attention to the under-over, the weaving as you go, since you're not doing all the warp and then all the weft. So it demands paying close attention and thinking ahead. But it's not too hard. Now you need some kind of a needle to pass through the holes. What I think I'm going to do is simply wrap some tape around the tip of the paracord so that it forms sort of a makeshift needle. And we'll see how well that works. But it only needs to hold up for a short time after all, so I think there's hope. I'm just kind of wrapping this haphazardly, and I think it's going to be fine. So let's try one. Yep, that just barely works. I might want to make that a little skinnier and a little longer. So what did I say? Down 2 or up 3? So I'm going to go over to the next hole. I just arbitrarily started on the second hole down. Over to the second hole down on the next leg, then down 2. Give it a little twist, get it through, And this might be nice to do while you're having a conversation with someone or watching TV, as long as you're capable of splitting your attention and not screwing up, because this is going to take a little while. Okay, so now I'm on the second hole from the bottom. I go across. I want to go down 2, but I can't go down 2. So instead I'm going to wrap around, down 1, up to the top, which is the same as going up 3. 1, 2, 3. So that's why I say down 2 or up 3. It's sort of following a regular pattern. And I will pull that through. Now you've sort of got this pattern starting to form, where so far it kind of looks random, but don't worry, it'll work out to be a nice pattern. And I'm going to spend a few minutes with you here so you can see this develop a little bit. Okay, now I'm up at the top hole. So as I go to the next one, I can go down 2. And now I'm at the middle hole, so I can again go down 2. So now you're going to see this parallel line form. Well, this one is going to be parallel to the first jump that I did. See that? These two are parallel. I want to continue to a little further so you can see a couple of these cross. This one is going to go up 3 because it's on the bottom hole. Across 1, 2, 3. Now we're tracking close to this other line, following it parallel. I may need to improve my needle. So far I'm getting away with it. Now you could probably get away with drilling your holes a little smaller than a 1/4 inch for paracord. I'm kind of glad that I did mine a 1/4 inch though, because it makes them relatively easy to get this through. It also occurred to me that another way to form this into a needle might be to roast it with a lighter until it slightly melts and then hardens again. So you have like a little stiff section. I haven't tried that, but I think if the masking tape got to be a little too much of a pain in the neck, that might be the next thing I would try. Every now and then you are going to have to pull your slack through. I think I'm getting ready to do that now. I'm just going to bite the bullet here, gather it up a little bit. Now there are 15 holes. That means 15 hops. Each hop is a foot or less. That means you probably need, for this stool, going by that math, you probably need less than 15 feet. Well, around 15 feet. So I would try to buy maybe a 20-foot piece, just to be sure that there's enough. Okay, just gathering up my slack here. We're about to get to the fun part. Okay, so now I've got 2 parallel ones right here. You see that a little better over here? 2 parallel ones. And this third one, we're out of holes here. I can't go down, so I have to go up 3. So I'm going to weave this under and over. Or over and under. I'll arbitrarily go over this one and under this one. And the next one that will be there, I can imagine myself going over it, but it's not there yet, so I don't do that yet. And that's how you have to think about this weaving, is you have to always remember the ones that aren't there when you go under and over. So now we're getting to another one. Now this one, we are going down 2, where the last 2 that went across here went up 3. So I'm going to go over and under. I'm on the third hole down, so I'm going to go to the bottom hole of the 5. Down 2. And you continue like this. You can see this starting to take shape. Now, I want to show you another one that's a little further along. Actually, it's done. This is a taller stool that I made a while ago. And this is just to show you what it looks like when it's more complete. And I found this works really well. It prevents the legs from spreading. When you get to the end, you want to tie your favorite bend, which is not a square knot. That's a binding knot, people. All right, so in this one, I tied a Zeppelin bend. I think it looks nice. There is Alpine Butterfly bend is a nice one. There's one called a Hunter bend that's very easy to tie. So use a good knot, and then you can cut off the ends. I use a hot knife, which is actually a Dremel butane soldering iron with a knife tip on it. That's a nice way to cut the ends, but of course the simple way is you just cut it with a knife and hold a lighter to it. And if you've never done that before, and you know, practice before you do it on your finished piece, it's usually good to do it so that the lighter kind of grazes the end. You don't want to just melt it all at once. You want to kind of creep up on it gently for a better result. But the best answer really is to practice, because that's how you will get a good result. So with that, I think I will end the video. I'm just gonna remind you to use the buttons down below. You know, you got like, dislike, subscribe. There's a description if you want to look at that. Which buttons you use are up to you. If you want to hit the dislike button, that's your call. I hope you have a fantastic day, fantastic holidays, and I'll see you again next time. All right. Ciao.